welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing well and looking after themselves. I'm filming a little bit of a different video today, so it's not going to be me and Bren prancing around for once. But I'm sure, as most of you probably know, it's a really important week this week because it's Mental Health Awareness Week. And the theme for this year's Mental Health Awareness Week is kindness. So I wanted to do a video specifically on the importance of being kind to ourselves, and because it is often easier to be kind to other people and we kind of put ourselves to the back of the pile very often. But yeah, it's really important that we do learn to love ourselves fully and really take time to talk positively to ourselves. And I think it's just so important because the relationship with ourselves is the longest relationship we'll ever have, from the minute that we're born till the minute that we leave. So grab yourselves a cuppa or a glass of wine and let's talk self-love, peace and pout, no self-doubt. In terms of my personality and the way my cogs turn, I think I have honestly been an overthinking, anxious little soul since I came out the womb. I'm going to try and explain the best I can, without waffling too much, about my overthinking mind and brain and how it's kind of changed as I've gotten older. So in primary school, I mean, I've always been a worrier and an overthinker for as long as I can remember, but in primary school, I kind of think of it now as thinking irrationally. I would often feel bad about things I'd thought but never actually said, which is going to sound crazy. So, for example, I'd go to my mum and dad and say, I'm really worried about this thing that I thought because that wasn't a very nice thought, really. I shouldn't have thought that. And my mum and dad would say, but Megan, you didn't say it. And I said, I know, but that's not the point. I've thought it and I feel bad that I've thought it. So I've always had a really overly guilty conscience, always had a guilty conscience about the tiniest of things. So yeah, so in primary school, that would often be a thing. I would worry about things that I'd thought and never actually said. Obviously, now I know it's a free country, I can think whatever I want. Anyway, so in primary school, they bought me worry dolls. If you don't know what worry dolls are, I'm going to try and find a picture and insert it here. So these worry dolls were you were supposed to tell the worry dolls you worry before you went to sleep, and then I think the dolls were supposed to take it to some mountains in, I don't know where, and they were supposed to take your worries away so that in the morning you would wake up and the worry dolls had taken all your worries away. So that was my little coping mechanism in primary school. Even when I went into secondary school, my worrying didn't stop. I was always overthinking all the time, and there'd be so many occasions in secondary school and college where I'd just lose so much sleep, and I'd try and go to sleep, and for me, when I was going to sleep, that would be when my brain would start working overtime the most, and I'd just overthink. And honestly, it felt like wacky warehouse up here because the cogs would just be turning, going crazy, and it would be really difficult to block out the negative thoughts and the overthinking that was happening in my head. Yeah, it would just be really difficult, and I wouldn't be able to get to sleep a lot of the time. I'd get sweaty feet, I'd get sweaty palms, and just end up coming back downstairs and sitting up with my mum and dad, and they'd, you know, patiently talk to me through my worries and help me calm down. And that happened loads of times. And even in college, that happened a lot as well. The main thing that all my worries would tend to stem from was mistakes that I'd made and how they might affect other people. So again, it was just because I had a really guilty conscience. So if I'd made a mistake, or if I'd ever said something I shouldn't have said, or acted in a way that I regretted, then I would just think, oh my gosh, what might that person think of me? And it would just spiral and spiral. My mum calls it the snowball effect. So I'd have this little worry, let's say it's a little speck of snow up here. So say for example, I don't know, say if I was worried that I'd said something to someone that I shouldn't have said. So that's the initial worry. So then I would think, oh my goodness, what if I've really upset that person? And then I would think, what if that person goes and tells their group of friends? And then I'd think, what if that group of friends goes and tells their mums and dads, and then their whole family think I'm horrible? Honestly, so before you know it, this little speck of snow up here has rolled down the hill. We've got a snowball, it keeps rolling, and then before you know it, you've got a full-blown snowman with a scarf and a carrot. And I just didn't feel like I had control of my headspace. And I think in college why it was maybe so bad is because I was really wanting to do well in my exams, and I was really trying to concentrate in my lessons, but I felt like I couldn't always concentrate in my lessons because my headspace would be fully consumed by my overthinking and by my worries. So I think that's maybe why it got so why it got worse in college. Go through long periods where I didn't have worries, and I felt I'd always feel amazing then, and I'd just think, oh, it's so nice not to have a worry. But then when I was going through a phase, and you know, it could be half a year, it could be a few months, where I was fixated on a worry that I could not get out my head, it would be really, really upsetting, and I just would completely lose my appetite because I was going to sleep feeling sick, and I was just restless all through the night, and I would be waking up feeling sick. That would upset me even more because then I'd feel frustrated and I'd feel like I was ruining experiences for myself. So what I noticed was another trigger for my overthinking and over worrying was, I have no idea why, but special occasions and holidays, or just anything that I'd be looking forward to. So say if it was coming up to me going on holiday, I'd worry like mad about whatever the last mistake was that I made. I'd suddenly latch onto it then before I was going on holiday. The same around Christmas time, my birthday, before prom, before smart day. Anything that I'd been looking forward to leading up to it, the couple of weeks before it, I'd feel so worried. Not about the event, or not about attending it or the day. I'd always really want to do the actual things that I'd been looking forward to, but it was as though my mind didn't want me to. The only way I can explain it is, it was as though my guilty conscience didn't think I should be just fully enjoying those really nice experiences and fully just letting go and being laid back and living in the moment. And it was just as though the negative voice would be saying, well, you can't enjoy that because remember that mistake you made and that thing that you shouldn't have said. Yeah, you're not getting over that one that easily. We're going to just keep it swirling around here. And, you know, I'd get really upset, and I remember times in college where I'd cry to my mum and dad and said, this isn't fair, I hate that I'm like this. And I'd talk so negatively to myself and beat myself up so much that I was feeling that way. So that was through kind of secondary school on and off, and the whole of college wasn't like that, but there was a period in college where it was at its worst. I'm really lucky, I've always had a really open and honest relationship with my mum and dad, so I would literally go to them with any worry that I had. I think the amazing thing about speaking to your family and friends is that they just want the best for you, and your family and friends would hate to think if you were overthinking something, or something was keeping you up at night, or, you know, you were struggling to enjoy yourself fully because there was something that was really bothering you. If you thought that your best friend was feeling that way, you would feel awful and you'd want to do anything to help them and, you know, to be there for them. So just like how you'd feel towards your best friends, they would just feel exactly the same towards you and want to just be able to pick you up and talk to you about anything. For whatever reason, when I left college and when I went to uni, it was so much better, and I didn't worry about things anywhere near as much. I didn't overthink anywhere near as much, and I honestly don't know why that is, but I think that what has definitely changed between, obviously that was about 5 years ago, but something that has that has definitely played a massive part is that I talk to myself so differently to how I spoke to myself back then. I just honestly started to love myself more, and I started to give myself the benefit of the doubt so much more. And if I did make a mistake, I'd acknowledge that I'd made a mistake, but I wouldn't cling on to it and I wouldn't beat myself up about it. And so I'd maybe think, oh well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I shouldn't have really acted that way. But you know what, 99% of the time I'm a really kind person and I look after my family and friends, and I do more good than what I do bad. I'd just big myself up more, and I would never big myself up in secondary or college. Also, something that's changed is all the things that I didn't like about myself in secondary and college, I like about myself now. Just even daft things. So like, I used to hate this mole under my nose and now I love it. And I used to hate my dimples and now I love them. I used to hate my varicose veins and now I love them. So I think obviously time's such a good healer, and I think self-love is something that you just get better at with practice, and you do have to put effort into the relationship with yourself and looking after yourself. It's not that I don't ever worry anymore. Like the other week, I must have been bored in isolation, and I found myself honestly thinking about a mistake I made in like 2015 or something. But on the whole, I just don't worry anywhere near as much, because the thing is you can put yourself down and you can beat yourself up about things that you've done or things that you regret, or you can just think, well, actually I learned a lot from that mistake, and that taught me that I either don't want to go down that route, or that taught me that not to do something like that again, because that's how I feel after it. What I always tell myself now is, if I do have a worry, I think, would I worry about that in 10 years time? Nope. Would I worry about it in 5 years time? Nope. Would I worry about it next year? Nope. See you then. See you. Because there's no point clinging on to something that's not going to affect your life. Also, I think of worries and negative thoughts like cars. If a car drove past in the street, you wouldn't run onto the street and jump onto the car and latch onto it and, you know, be clinging onto it and hanging for dear life out the window. You wouldn't do that. You'd stand and you'd watch the car go by. So that's what we should do with our worries and our negative thoughts and overthinking. We should see them and we should go, ta-ta, see ya. Down the street they go. If I'm having any worries, I just think, listen Megs, you little overthinker tinker, we know what you're doing, and the negative Nancy's just trying to creep in a bit too far, but we're just going to go, not today Nance, not today. Positive vibes only. We need to honestly tell ourselves that we love ourselves literally every day, and if you can't do it every day, every week, and if you think you don't have time to tell yourself, you need to make time. Because the more you speak to yourself as though you loved yourself, the less it's almost like the quieter that negative Nancy gets. So the more we're negative to ourselves and horrible to ourselves, then negative Nancy's thriving off that. And she's like, ooh, yippee, we love to be negative. And then I feel like I'm going crazy. But the more that we actually big ourselves up, you know, we put our big girl pants on and we're like, you go girl, you go Glen Coco, then the negative Nancy's just, you know, she's trailing off in the background. Another thing is, when I get stressed, I'm having a stressful day, okay, then my back tenses up like the Incredible Hulk. Honestly, the knots in my back, like if I'm stressed in about half an hour, my back turns into the Incredible Hulk. That's what it feels like. So what to do when I feel like that is lavender, lavender, lavender. Always have lavender on me and do some deep inhalations with the lavender. I think I've mentioned that in another video because I love it so much. But also, this might sound crazy, but I'll hug myself. And that might sound crazy, but I don't care. And Bren's there and he could hug me, but it's not about that. I want to give myself the self-love that I deserve. So I'll honestly hug myself if I'm feeling stressed off, if I've had a bit of a tough day and I'm thinking, oh, that was a bit tough for my little self, I'll honestly give myself a hug. Yeah, I find that that's comforting. People might think that sounds crazy, but that's okay. Everyone needs to think after this of 3 things that you love about yourself. So mine would be, I love that I'm a big friendly giant, BFG, daddy long legs. What else? I love that I'm a good friend, I'm a good daughter, I'm a good sister. My last one is that I love my motivation to just do what I enjoy. So in terms of going into fashion, and I'm quite motivated, and I like that I put my mind to something and I just go after it and I work really hard to achieve what I'm really interested in and want to do. So that would be my 3 things. So everyone needs to think about their 3 things. That's the challenge of the day. And finally, I just wanted to quickly mention 2 Instagram accounts that I really like, that I think might be helpful to people. So I know that graduates and students are going through a pretty tough time at the minute with everything that's going on. Well, a really tough time, and it's a really frustrating situation for everyone. And I really hope that eventually, when it's safe to do so, that graduates can have the graduation that they deserve, because obviously uni is a big experience and you work so hard, and yeah, and so I really hope that everyone can have the graduation they deserve properly when it's safe to do so. But yes, so there's an Instagram account called Gals Who Graduate, which I thought people might find helpful, even graduates and people who haven't graduated yet, so students. And it's basically a platform where people who are graduating can just talk and be honest about their experience after uni and how people are dealing with things, and it's just really inspiring. And yeah, I think I would definitely follow that if you are a student or graduating this year, because they just do loads of Instagram takeovers with people sharing their experiences, and I think it'll be really helpful. And another Instagram account is called she_can. I'll link both of these below, but that is just an account which talks about mental health, and it's got loads of inspiring and positive things on there. It's just a really open and honest platform with loads of inspiring things on there, and it's quite motivational. And yeah, that's just another little one that I like to follow, so you might like it too. So I'll link both of those below. But I hope everyone has a nice week, and thank you for watching this far. If you've watched this far, I hope I haven't rambled too much, and I hope it might have been a little bit relatable to someone, or even helpful to one person. That would be amazing. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed. Like and subscribe.